Okay, so today we are continuing our trek, our journey into making money. That is what that's what we're here for, right? Oh yes, sometimes you might hear my
Yes.
dog, so don't freak out. Yeah, she's over here. Okay, so we today we will continue. Let's take a few minutes to go over some of the things we talked about last time, and a little refresh. A little refreshment never hurts. Got to keep it fresh. Okay, so number one, what is an HTML document? What is it? Could anybody know? Anybody tell me? Dave, what's an HTML document? Talk to me.
It's a web page, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And sort of physically, how do you create one? What is it?
You use a text doc
Yeah, text
to
editor.
type your right a text like
Yeah,
notepad or
exactly,
something .txt.
exactly.
I'm not sure what's the Mac equivalent of notepad.
Anything. Yeah, no, well, let's call it an editor. Let's call it an
An
editor.
editor.
Yeah,
Okay,
any
cool.
yeah, any text editor because that's the whole point of this, right? It's a text editor because it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be expensive. It's all HTML. All HTML document is just a text document. That's all it is. So now, so then let's say this time, let's call this is an HTML document. And then we're going to save it as HTML. Yeah. Okay. So when I save it as an HTML over here, that's what sort of makes it an HTML file. All right. So we're just going to save it, right? So you guys see that right here? Shabloop. You see? Now you can see it. That's right. You can see the ending right here. All right. You guys see the extensions? So right here, man, I should have just put it so it shows the whole name. But for now, yes. So you see, this is the file I just created, correct?
No.
And I created it in WordPad, pretty much. It's just a simple text editor. All right, so far so good. But when I open it, because again it's extension HTML, the system links it to the web browsers because the system is cool like that, and then we see it as a web page. Sweet. So that's you guys are happy with that? You guys good? Perfect? 100%?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Great. So now, so an HTML, what are the two most important parts of an HTML document? You guys
The
remember?
head and the body.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So in the head, um, what kind of stuff would go there? I know that was kind of a little bit maybe unclear last time, but yeah,
And some like metadata.
exactly. Oh yeah, like that metadata. Yes. Yeah. So things that are not going to show up in the actual viewport on the actual page. So, but it's data that you need that your web page needs. For example, like Dan said, CSS. So if you have any styling that you want to add to your page, it's called yeah. On this page, you could put it here. And there's also JavaScript, which I will show you in a second. Okay, so don't get confused. I'm just showing you a quick example, right? Okay, we will get here soon. So HTML. So you guys see the head over here, right? And you see a bunch of like jarble stuff here that says scripts. Okay, so that stuff goes in the head, and that, like I said, we'll get there soon. Yes. So what we're trying to get here is that in the head goes resources and metadata that your page needs. So links to CSS files, styling files, and links to JavaScript libraries or just JavaScript code. Okay. So far so good. Give me a yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sweet. And in the body is the actual content that is going to show up on your page. So anything that goes in here, well, most anything that goes in here, where it's going to show up in the viewport. Okay, from now on, when I say viewport or view, I mean the view of the browser. So whatever shows up here. Okay, this is the browser where we are here, and this is the view. I know, I think it's important to establish some kind of based language or something. So yeah, so here is going to be the view or viewport. And whatever goes in the content, you can view here. Okay. I will be creating some kind of easy access reference materials for you guys. Like I said, it's been kind of like a very hectic week, a week for me. But I should be, I should be a little bit more, I should have a little bit more time with which I can create a little bit more content for you guys. But, as long as you guys get this part and get the basic understanding, that is the important, that is the important thing. Okay, now, before we move on to JavaScript, and the most, and well, I'm about to throw you another curve, but yes. Oh, how about CSS? What is CSS? Let's see. Can anybody tell me?
A elaborate style sheet.
Yeah.
It's an attribute.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fancy style.
Boom, there you go.
Makes
Yes.
the web page look good.
Yes, that's exactly, yeah. So CSS is a way of you adding style to the page. Make it look, format it, make it look good, and pretty much, yes. Oh, there's Don. Yeah, what's up, Don? Oh, wait, yeah. What's up, Don? How you doing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, over here. So, all right. So yeah, so CSS is just a way of making things, style your web page. We're not going to spend a lot of time in CSS yet, but as we go on, we'll throw a little something here and there, because that's kind of a side thing for us. It is very important, but we will, we'll jump into that after we have a better idea of everything else. All right. So, okay, we're good here. We got forms. What's a form? We're good. Can anybody tell me what a form is and why is it important?
A field where you could allow users to input data.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's an area in which you can get data and interact with the user. And normally, where do we want that data to go to? Where does it end up? Where do we want it to end up?
A server?
That's right. Yes. So you send it to a server somewhere, and the server does something with the data that you send it. Can you give me an example of what kind of stuff you could do with the data that you sent to the server?
Let's say you put in your login and your password in a form on a banking website,
Boom.
and it spits you back. The server will spit you back your summary account for the bank.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Or even a search engine. So pretty much anything that you type in and then you press enter or search, that is a form, and you're sending information and then getting some kind of information back from the server, which is great, like Mickey Mouse here. And again, we have a whole bunch of inputs. We have a whole bunch of elements and attributes that you can use with HTML and forms. The most important being input. Remember, this is jam right here, bread and butter. We're going to be using that one. Okay, so HTML5. Are we good on well, we're not really good on HTML5, but you guys get what it is and why it's so cool.
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, great. Yeah, so we went over that right here. Basically, it makes it easier for you, and it makes things very user friendly by providing very, very powerful attributes and elements. For example, the calendar picker, the color picker, number, and it makes it very, very easy for you to do certain things that before you used to be able to do only using JavaScript or Flash or some kind of special framework, which really it was kind of a pain in the ass to do the smallest things. But with HTML5, it's like boom, shabloops, in it to win it. Um, One more question about HTML5. When we went to that game website where you had a whole bunch of games for HTML5, uh, tell me why did we think it was really cool, and what was the important thing about HTML5 games, or HTML5 in particular? I mean, in general.
Didn't
You
have to
guys,
load any special software.
boom, exactly right. I mean, HTML5 is pretty much built into, well, most browsers now. So you're legit. So before, remember, you had to download Flash, you had to deal with Flash, you had to deal with Silverlight, or any kind of Media Shock player. Shockwave. That's what we were talking about. We were trying to remember last time. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, Shockwave is another one. Yeah, so you didn't need to download, like, nowadays you don't need to download any kind of special software. You could just go, boom, do stuff HTML5, and then do the do. Um, okay, so far so good. Sweet. Okay, just a little bit. Okay, so now before I continue, I have said this before, but I think it's important that I keep saying it once in a while. Um, right now we're learning some of the basics, correct? We're learning HTML, a little JavaScript, and all these things. And we are learning them in this form. We're learning what they are, and this is kind of how it looks like. Okay. And that, that it's very important to get the basics. But the most important thing is that, and this is where it's kind of important for you to to get this is, we saw HTML, we saw CSS, we saw, we're going to see JavaScript, jQuery, things like that. But you see how we're using them? We're using them in a browser or just an example, example editors, right? And we're getting the idea of what they are. Okay. Once we start using Visual Studio, right? That's going to be a different environment, right? And it's going to look, and maybe not, the feel is sort of going to be, but it's going to look and feel a little different. So at first, that's why it's very important to go over all of these. So then you can say like, oh, okay, so this is this is that. So we're not that confused. I could just go straight to Visual Studio and start from there. But we don't want to do that. We want to do this. The reason also why it's so important is that once we hit this right here. Oh no, you can't see it. Sorry. Once we start Visual Studio, let me go back here. Let me share my screen. Okay. The reason this is important, once we hit this right here, and we start loading and we're playing with Visual Studio, that is where the money comes in. That's where the money comes in a way, because that is where you're gonna start learning things that no one like. It's the accessibility to it is not like, you see how we have HTML. We went to a website. We have HTML5. We're learning all this stuff pretty quickly, right? Like it's accessible as hell. Like it's cool, and that's important, right? But then this bad boy here, which uses pretty much all the things that we're going to learn, all the concepts, it's not that easy, like to find resources or at least have somebody guide you to show you, how to get in here, how it works, and how this works in the real world. because really this is how people make money. This is not even money. This is how you learn. This is how you really do stuff right here. And once, oh yeah, this
I was gonna say, if you're interested,
yes,
Microsoft
sir.
does have like a Hello World example of how to use the software. It's very basic, but it gets you to
Yes.
that point.
Okay. Yeah. So we will definitely be getting there soon. But again, so once we go over some of the basic and then we start going in there. Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to confuse you guys. These are just files and whatnot. Oh, this is my actual. This is work right here. Let me scare you guys. This is an HTML. All right. So you guys see, this is from my work pretty much. You see, this is HTML, right? So it's gonna look a little bit weird once we get in there because they have a different way of writing HTML or that we can use. I mean, we could use both. We could use normal, the way we're doing it, or you could have helpers that could do it for you. Again, I don't want to confuse you or scare you, but basically, this thing in C Sharp creates a checkbox for you and links it to a variable. But again, don't be afraid. I mean, forget about that. Yes. So again, so once we start messing around with Visual Studio, that is when kind of the real thing starts that nobody else has access to. That because that's what people go to school for or try to learn because it's the accessible. I mean, Microsoft is working on making it more accessible, but having somebody show you and then go with you and go through it and give you the pitfalls and some examples, it's a little bit harder. That's why I guess people are still because again anybody can just go in here, which I do expect you to learn some of these things, but it's much much harder to just to get in the groove with Visual Studio. We will be starting, I think, Visual Studio next week after we do some of these. All right, so sorry about that. I went off on a tangent. So are we good?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so we understand what a web page is, an HTML web page. So now, up to now, we've been dealing with HTML and forms, which is very very important. Uh, but we lack in well so far. All we can do is just a static web page, right? Just some HTML that says hello. So a web page doesn't really do much. It doesn't really. Yeah, all it is just a static web page. Is that good? Do you think? I mean, not really, right? So then now we're moving on to JavaScript. I spoke about this, and we done probably an example or two. So now comes JavaScript. Okay. What's JavaScript? Talk to me. Do you guys know? They say it's easy to learn. All right. So yeah,
As long as,
yeah,
as long as easier than C++, I'm fine with that.
it is. Yeah. It's straightforward. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So JavaScript is the language you use to handle and interact with HTML. So what you use it for is try to get to make pages interactive and yeah, to make pages interactive and do things with your within your HTML. All right. So for example, let's see here. Let's try it yourself here. All right. So remember before we have a basic button here. All right. I may be going through here, so I mean, to maybe doing this too fast. Okay, so JavaScript. It's a programming language that we use to handle HTML. So far, so good. Yes. Yes. Sorry, I don't want to go too fast or anything. Okay, great. And normally, when we use it, it goes in the head. Actually, not. For now, this is a very bad, not a bad example. Okay, normally this one kind of confused. God damn it. For us, yeah, yeah. For okay, so
W3 does recommend. They didn't say you couldn't do it in the head, but on the quiz, I got that wrong. It does apparently go in the body as well.
oh no, no, yes, yeah, it goes. I'm just trying to not confuse you guys. JavaScript can go pretty much everywhere. But for now, since I'm trying to, try to show you in a, I don't know, normal way, I guess. But that's my bad. Yeah, yeah. You could pretty much put it anywhere. Like some people put it at the bottom, at the top. But for now, I just want you to get comfortable with the idea of a head and what goes on the head. Later on, you could probably you break the rules because you understand how it is and what's better. All right. Okay, so for now. Okay, back to JavaScript, programming language which you can do, which you can use to mess around with web pages. One thing I'm gonna do here, well, is okay. Let's just go over here. This is good right here. All right, because we're gonna talk about JavaScript, but we're probably gonna go into jQuery a little bit, um, yeah, right after that, somewhat. All right, so JavaScript. With JavaScript, we can interact with the page. So the first thing, let me just take this away here. Bear with me. Forget you're seeing this. All right. Okay. So this is a normal web page. Everybody understands what this is so far, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a simple thing.
Yes.
All right. So, let's see, this is the head here. Okay. Actually, yeah, let's just go straight, I guess. All right, so we're good here so far. All right, so then, actually, yeah, these examples don't even use that. All right, so then we're going to add a button. Okay. So before we get this here, we understand the button, right? All it is just a button, and we got over this. Okay, great. So then type button, and then remember that last time we spoke about events. So here we're saying, on click, do some kind of JavaScript, because that's what the on click handler does. It executes some JavaScript or a function. Right. So this is just saying one of the calls for JavaScript is get element by ID. All right. So it's saying, hey, so which element is trying to get? Can anybody figure out?
The demo element is listed above, is defined above, so it would be JavaScript can change the HTML content.
Shablips, yes. So then, when you do it, so yeah, so far, again, one of the calls for for JavaScript is document.getElement, and this, and notice how it just says get element by ID. All right. So Dave, how does it know? Like, where is this? Where does this exist? You get that, right? Like, where's demo?
Yeah. That should be in the server.
Oh no, I mean in this page here, right? Like, what is it?
In this page?
Yeah. Like, we're getting element an element by ID, Which one are we getting?
Okay.
We're getting demo, and what is demo? Do you know where it is? Or do you see it on this page anywhere?
I see P space ID equals demo.
Yeah. So it's a paragraph, right?
Right, it's a paragraph.
Yeah, so it's a paragraph, and the ID. So the ID of it is demo. So what this is doing is getting a handle on this paragraph. On this paragraph tag, correct? Okay. And then the inner HTML, which is this part here, is gonna get set to hello JavaScript. So I'm just gonna run it. So again, when I press this, what should happen?
Hello, JavaScript.
There you go. Okay. All right. So again, we get some kind of. Let's see. All right. Good. This is good right here. So we have a button. We get the element ID. Okay. That's what. HTML. What if I just said? Mm, do you guys remember alert? What alert does? Yeah.
Puts a pop-up.
Yeah. So if I wanted to say when I click it, say hello world, what would I do? Anybody remember? Something like this. Hello world. Am I forgetting? I think I am forgetting.
Those quotes.
Yeah, the quotes. Always a pain.
There you go.
Ah. Click. I think I'm forgetting one of them or something. All right. Pretty sure I butchered it, but god damn it. Sorry. Bear with me here. All right. On click. Wait a minute. Hello. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Okay, so far you guys get this 100%. Yeah.
Have to get used to that syntax, but yes.
Yeah. Like this is not. I mean, it's JavaScript. It is, but we're about to sort of jump into real JavaScript in 1 second. But you guys understand that it has. You sort of have functions, or that you can do things with HTML. Right now, we're just using some of the built-in ones, which you guys don't know. So I'm just throwing stuff like alert. Actually, we spoke about alert last time, right? Yeah, so that one's all right. Okay, so now I think this is gonna be your intro to, well, somewhat real JavaScript. All right. So here, script. There we go. Okay. So, since JavaScript is a programming language, are you guys aware? Do you know what a function is? Yeah, we're about to start. Yeah, you guys know what a function is. What is a function?
You define the functions and they perform a certain task.
Exactly. You do a task. So it's a piece of code that does a task, right? Dave, are you good with that?
Yes.
Okay. So in our case, let's create. JavaScript is really. They take it easy on you when it comes. It's very simple when it comes to. How should I say this? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Like whenever you try to write a function, you don't overthink it, because if we want to create a function, we just say, hey, it's a function. right? And then give it a name, add, and then it takes variables, right? Again, I hope you guys are ready for, a little intro into programming. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with this, but, well, num1, num1, num2, num2, and then if I wanted to output the sum of num1 and num2, output as in like I wanted a pop-up, how would I do it?
Are you saying an alert?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, right. Exactly. So if I wanted to alert both of these, like the sum of these, how would I go about it? Alert.
You want to call the add function.
We could call an add. Oh yes, yeah. But we're writing the add function right now. So if I wanted to alert the sum of num1 and num2, so actually let's call this sum here. Actually, I'm just gonna sort of do it because it's pretty straightforward. And then what do I need to alert here?
Sum.
Yep. Okay. Show blips. Sum. Straightforward. Okay. So if I hit run, what's gonna show up here? Anybody know? I mean, what's gonna happen here? How is this going to change?
Do we still have all the old code for the what can JavaScript do? It's just going to throw a pop-up at us, isn't it?
Well, currently, you see, I'm giving you, this is a trick question, sort of. Like if I hit run, and
Nothing.
yeah, exactly. What's gonna change here in the viewport? Nothing, right? It's the same thing. Yeah. Why?
Because the head shows nothing on the viewport.
Yeah. And we're not really doing it. Yeah, we're not messing around with anything in here with the body, but we're doing stuff in the head, which is sort of where I wanted to get. Yeah.
Gotcha. We defined the function, but we didn't call it. In the
Yep.
body.
Exactly. So from now on, whenever we define functions, so we're messing around with functions, at least for now, is going to be in here. And this is going to be where we're going to be doing a lot of the interesting stuff here. Okay, so far so good. And it's the same thing. And what happens when I say click me?
At this point, that's still going to do what it's always been.
Yeah. So what's it going to do? Yeah, you can look at the code, but over here, what does it do? Well, what does it do when this is the button here. So what happens when I not click? Nothing.
Yeah, we have nothing in there.
Yeah. There's nothing in there, yeah. Okay, so if we wanted to output, so that we have a function add, correct? And if we wanted to use that function, how would I go about that? What would I type here in order to
I'm not sure how to call that function.
You could just say add, and then you give it two numbers, 5 and 5, I guess, right? 5 and 6. Okay, yeah. Well, let's see if this works. We don't even know if this works. Okay, again, what would happen once I press run? How is this going to change?
The page itself shouldn't, but the
exactly. Oh yeah, the page itself is not. That's what it's important, because remember, some things show up like this is what changes kind of at the viewport, whatever we're messing around with here, this is attributes. This is kind of stuff that is affecting stuff in the background or in a different way. Okay, so let's run it. And let's see if I press this. We don't know if it's going to work. Hopefully it does. But let's see. Let's see. Click. Oh, man, look at that. Do you guys see that? Shablips. So, did it work? Oh, sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm kind of going over this a little fast. But we'll get there. Any questions so far? We're good?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're kind of going to do, while we do a little JavaScript, and we're going to, of course, have to go over, we got to get into computer science and programming shit in here now a little bit. And I'm going to make a little handout for you guys this week. But for now, try to remember it or maybe take some notes or something. Okay, so pretty much most of the things we're going to be working with are function in a way. Whenever we want to do a task in programming, we're going to be using a function. Okay. We're going to call it different terms. We're going to call it a method. Going to call it, like some kind of Actually, another word for it. It's a method or a function or some other name. Okay, but don't be confused. All it is what? It's just a piece of code that does a job. Okay. Again, it's simple. I know it sounds simple, but don't, later on, whenever you hear of any kind of function or method, all it does is just, some code that does a job. Okay. In this one, we define add. We made it up ourselves. And so now, to get to the actual programming, I know you guys are familiar with programming, so I'm gonna assume some things, and if you're not sure, just ask or stop me at any time. Okay, so this is a function. A function consists of a couple of things. One is here's just a function here. Name of the function. And do you know what these are? What are these things called?
Inputs?
Yeah, they could call them inputs, yes. Or parameters. Or arguments.
Parameters.
Well, no, yeah. So you're gonna hear a lot of words for the name of these two, these guys here. You're gonna hear parameters, inputs, or arguments. There probably are others, but remember, arguments, parameters, inputs. Mostly, you try to use parameters or arguments or inputs. And that is what you need to provide the function in order to do its job, right? And once you pass these dudes in here, the function is going to do something with them. It's going to manipulate them somehow. Oh, also, I just remember that word. Yes. So from now on, manipulate. That's what JavaScript we can do with JavaScript. Yes. Manipulate HTML. Boom. So that I remember that word just in time too. Yeah, it manipulates HTML. That's what JavaScript does. That's the main job. So you could fiddle around and change the web page by manipulating, getting a handle on it, and then manipulating elements on the page. Okay, so going back, so function, blip. Okay, what are these things called? Do you remember?
Parameters.
Okay. Sweet, yeah, arguments, parameters. Good. So now, for the next concept, which is where we start a little bit. Are both of you aware of? Do you know what a variable is? Yeah, that's tricky, right? Like this guy here. Okay. Yeah. Well, we got parameters. Yeah, but do you know what a variable is? Yeah, you're sort of aware. Okay. So now, this is the important part, because this is where you get your first. I'm pretty sure, Dan, you have a little bit of experience with variables. I'm pretty sure what it is, and I think Dave also.
Just a little.
Yeah, but when you think of a variable, when you do programming, think of a box, right, in memory. So anything you're doing is on a server somewhere, and the server is messing around with memory. Memory, all it is just a huge notepad that it keeps tabs on things. Okay, so far so good. I really shouldn't. Yeah, I need to create some kind of a attachment for this. But yes, so all it is just a big storage with a whole bunch of scribbles on it that keeps track of stuff. Okay, so now when if we have a function, okay, so again, whenever you think of a variable, think of a box in memory, some kind of storage. Okay, I want you to repeat after me. It's a box in storage that you put stuff in. Are you guys good? All right. Yeah, repeat after me. Box is storage. One thing I'm kind of moving it up here because normally the way I show people this concept is that I draw a box and then I kind of name it. Well, let me see here. C sharp, yeah, variable. Let's see images. Now these are sucky things. Oh, okay, yeah, right here, right here. Forget about the numbers. Actually, yeah,
Addresses.
yeah. Forget about this. Actually, sorry. What's that? Sorry.
Addresses.
At what? Yeah,
The number.
yeah. No, yeah. Those are addresses. Yes. Again, but again, all it is just a box in memory to keep some kind of value. Okay. Again, box of memory, value. It's easy, right? Yeah. Okay. So when we program, we the main thing we're trying to do a job here, right? We're trying to get a result, and in order to get that result, we need to take certain steps to get to our result. That's what programming is. It's just describing a whole bunch of commands, giving the computer a whole bunch of commands in an order for us, to provide us a result. Okay, so remember, what's a variable? Anybody remember? Sorry, I forgot. What's a variable? What's up? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. All right, Dave. What's a variable? What's
A
up?
box of storage.
Exactly.
Some
Yeah. Oh yes. Okay, so um, just if you have any questions, also the box of storage that we're dealing with right now, because we're messing around with JavaScript. The box of storage is the memory on your browser. So I mean, if you had any questions about that, I mean, don't worry about that. For now, it's just a box to store stuff. So in this case, I wanted I wanted a place where I could store the sum of these two numbers. All right, which are arguments. So we pass. So again, when we use this, we pass it arguments, and then I wanted to store it somewhere. So I created a variable called sum, and in that sum I created. I mean, in that sum I put. What did I put in there? Anybody know? What do I want to put?
num1 plus num2.
Yes. So since we're doing, we're telling it what to do because that we're the masters of the computer. We're programmers. We're like, listen, take num1 and num2 that we got from somewhere and put it here and keep it. So another thing is whenever you do programming, for now, the way you do it, you scan. You're like a robot. I mean, think make believe. Yeah, sorry, make believe you're a robot. So you go from top to bottom. So we gotta scan line by line, right? Okay. So on the first line, what happens? Anybody know?
We're declaring the function add with two arguments.
Yeah, right here. Yes. And then we go in. What happens here? Anything? Sorry, in this line here. I don't know if you can see.
I think that's just there for human readability.
Yeah. I mean, so in the first line, nothing happens, right? Then we
Right.
move on to Then we go to the second line. What then? What happens?
Declaring a variable with sum
Mhm.
where it adds num1 and num2.
Beautiful. And then here, nothing happens
Nothing
there.
happened.
And and then here we call a built-in function called alert. And what alert does, it outputs in a little box whatever you put in here. All right. And yeah, so there we go with that here. And then when you press it, bling. So now questions. Num1 and num2, are they also in storage boxes somewhere?
They would have to be, wouldn't they?
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. And where are they created? When do we spawn or create those boxes um, to store them, to store their value? Well, what do you guys think it happens?
When we create the add function.
Yep. When we call it, pretty much. Yes.
Yes.
So we use it here. We go here. So once we call it and create it, pretty much here, right? There's a place in memory that said, hey, we have a function. Again, I really should, yeah. We have a function, and in that function, we're gonna have two variables. So this box is for this guy here, and there's a box for that guy there. Okay. And then we're in here, so we have the interaction of this box, and then we have another here. So once we're here, so how many boxes would there be by the time related to this function by the time we get here? Anyone?
4, assuming the alert itself does not count.
It doesn't. It does not. So it would be 3 somewhere. Yeah. The alert itself doesn't count. All it does is just takes the value of the box. I mean the value of sum, and then alerts it. Give me a second. Look away. Let's see. Okay. All right. So it's sort of like this in a way. Just forget about it. So remember, so we create. Yeah, let me see. There you go. This looks like something I would do. Yeah. So this is exactly what it looks like. It's a box in memory, and we put stuff in this box. For example, values, and then we use the box. Forget about the right side over here. Don't worry about this yet. Just remember this part here, the left part. So it's a box that has value that we could put stuff and take stuff out of. And we're gonna do that right now. Yeah, again, sorry, because normally I draw this out on the board or on paper or something, so I really needed better prep for this. But yeah, but anyway, it's a box that we have access to that we could change the value to. Right? Okay, sweet. I like this right here. Okay, so let's go back. So when are we putting the value into the boxes? And if I wanted to put 2 7s into num and num2, how would I go about that? Anyone know?
If you want the user to do it, then you'd have to define a form
Yeah.
with num1 and num2.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. But for us, to make it easier, how would I do that? If I wanted to put just give it, put a value in there.
I mean, we can just enter them in
Yeah.
with values.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's simple. Yeah, it's straightforward. Yes. So here, I guess you guys understand that once we do this, right? Once we call the function, this dude is going to go into the box for the first guy magically, and whatever's in here is going to go into the box of the second guy in memory. And then we get 14. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, so far so good.
Yes.
Sweet. So alert, it's a pretty sweet function, and you could do, it's pretty smart somewhat. So a lot of the time, you know how we have sum here? We have the variable sum. A lot of the time you could just, well, in certain cases, you can just substitute whatever this variable is. If we want to save memory or something, whatever this variable is with whatever the variable did in a way, right? I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but my question to you is, from here, without adding or without using a third variable, how would I output in a text box the sum of these two guys? I know you probably, I mean, we haven't gone over that, but how would you think it would work? Give you a hint right there. Remember, alert's pretty smart. All right, that's all good. That's all good.
Suggesting we just add them in right in the alert.
That's right. That's right. So you could do num1 plus num2. Let's see. Well, let's see if that works. I'm not sure. Well, let's see. Blip. 14. And it works. It's pretty sweet.
Plain text.
Was that? Right.
It doesn't treat them as just plain text. It actually treats them like part of, oh, it's in the function.
Exactly. Yes. So yeah, so in this particular case, you can pretty much do, especially when it comes to number manipulation and even string manipulation. It's pretty sweet. Most can do that. Okay, now.
That's an interesting point. You said number versus string. We didn't define them as a number or a string.
Exactly, which is my next, my next point. Like I said, remember that I said JavaScript is, it takes it easy on you. It doesn't. It's not. Most languages have hardcore constraints when you declare variables and when you do any functions. You have to tell it, hey, what kind of data you're dealing with. The name has to be perfect. If you mess up the name, like an uppercase, well, in this one, yeah. If you mess up the name in any way, but it's still in JavaScript, it won't work. But especially with the types. So JavaScript tries to massage a lot of the things and keep it simple. So JavaScript, it's pretty cool that it tries to tell, or it tries to figure out for you, whether or not it's a number or a string. And it tries to do, it's pretty smart when it comes to that. But before we go on to that, now it's getting interesting because we're going to go to data types. When we do programming, basic programming, we're going to be dealing with data types, which is a different type of information that we're going to be interacting with. Some of them are going to be numbers, and some of them are going to be strings, and some of them are going to be other things like bits or decimals and all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Signed or unsigned integers.
Oh yeah, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. But for us, we're keeping it simple for now. We're going to deal with strings. Let's see, string A. Actually, it's not even string. It's just, for now, it's just var A. Oh, well, for now, let's just keep it simple, sorry. Var B equals 1. All right. Mm. So again, when we're dealing with programming, we're going to be dealing with different types again. Mostly is numbers and characters. Okay, I want you to understand. So when we deal with numbers, always remember we're dealing with the types either int. For now, let's just call it int for integers. All right. Are we good on that? So most of the numbers. Well, we're going to get away with this for now. Yes, most of the numbers are going to be integers. So 5, 7, 18, whatever it is. Okay. So integers. And then it's gonna be strings. So it's gonna be words, names, whatever it is. You could also treat. Well, let me ask you a question. Well, so characters, words, strings. Um, are you guys good with the difference between what an integer, a number, and a string is? Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Dave, you're good. Dave, did we lose you?
No.
Okay, yeah. So you're good. You understand so far. Integers and strings.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So these are going to be kind of yeah. Those are going to be the two main types, data types that we're going to be dealing with. So the type of information. Oh, by the way, these two things, whenever you deal with JavaScript, those are comments. So when you do these two bad boys here, two slashes, the compiler is going to ignore that. They're going to say, oh shit, okay, they don't want me to, this is just for us to write in comments here. So the compiler is going to ignore whatever is in these two here. So for now, we're going to keep, commenting it. It's good to do anyway. So this is what we're going to be dealing with here. And so far, we're dealing with integers and strings. Okay, so now, for now, let's just deal with integers here. Blip. And again, JavaScript, it's pretty easy because you can sort of mix the two, which is really good, but it's really bad in a way because it kind of confuses you because you get used to saying, oh shit, it's easy and it will do it for me, but don't get you too used to that. Okay, so now, if I were to say var sum equals 1 plus 1. Okay. What kind of data am I interacting with here? Anybody know? What data type? What data type?
Should be integers.
Yep. And sum 2. Yeah, this is where I'm starting to throw you off over here. That's right. Let me just delete this here. Okay, so here, so sum1 here. Do you guys see what's the difference between when I wrote a 1 here and when I wrote a 1 here? I mean, just from like how yeah.
I'm gonna guess that quotes are to define it as a string.
That's right. That is right. So in JavaScript, whenever you're dealing with strings, you're gonna have quotes. So if you see quotes, JavaScript can take either double quotes or single quotes. So for now, let's get used to single quotes.
Does it treat them differently?
No, it's pretty much the same. But you should get used to using single quotes because later on, when we're dealing with some stuff in Visual Studio or even in JavaScript, we're gonna be having things like these encased in double quotes, right? So we're gonna be encompassing something like this. This is gonna, let's just say, yeah, this is going to be a string later on that we might use. So yeah, let me not confuse you though. Let's go back. But do you see in another language, right? Uh, let's say that I want to use this as a string, right? In C sharp. So C sharp uses the double quotes as a string. And this is perfectly fine in C sharp. But if I had this double strings like this, right? That would sort of create a fucking pain in the ass for C sharp. C sharp wouldn't know how to treat it, right? Yeah. But so that's why we're just using single quotes for now.
That would call for some escape characters.
Exactly. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. You have to do a whole, you have to finagle it and escape it in order to, for yeah, it's good stuff. In order for for it to be usable. So for now, let's just do single. Okay. So again, we got some sums here. We got different types. We got characters. Um, and what would happen if I alerted some what would show up?
Show the number 2.
That's right. Right here. And some two.
They show 1 plus 1.
You sure? You sure?
Let me see.
Yeah.
They show
Also,
1, 1 and 1.
let's see. Well, yeah, I'm kind of tricking you here because this is it's a JavaScript shorthand, but yeah, let's see what happens. Let's explore. Okay, that is one of the things that freaking JavaScript. Okay, forget about this. God damn it, this bullshit. Yeah, yeah, JavaScript is weird like that. That should have been a 2, I guess. God damn you, JavaScript. Yeah, that is weird. Let me see where. Oh, crap. Yeah. Yeah, in order to do it with numbers, I think you have to do a string. Give me a second. Let me test something, guys. Hold on. God damn you, JavaScript. B. Hold on. Yeah, this is one of the things that JavaScript's kind of weird with. My apologies. Because sometimes it gets those confused, which again, it's kind of weird. Well, let me see. Hopefully this thing works. A plus. Nice. Alert. Am I forgetting something here? That is freaking weird.
Did it just completely break?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on. Don't worry about this.
I never learned how to read that. I've tried.
Oh, it's really no, it's very useful. It's very useful.
Oh.
Yeah, that's really weird. A plus. God damn it. Yeah, this is one of those things that is weird with JavaScript, which is where it's kind of trying to be careful not to break it because sometimes it reads numbers and let's see, and strings kind of similar. But yeah, A plus B alert sum. This is freaking on. Yeah, it's weird. All right, for now, forget about this. Yeah, forget about it. Forget about it. Let's talk. Let's yep.
I was gonna say, are we allowed to explicitly define it as a string?
You
did. You did.
Yeah. Which is weird. I don't know if this is the editor that we're using or something, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, let me test something here because something might have been broken somewhere else. A plus B Okay. No, yeah, that's good. Because maybe it's affecting somewhere. Well, first of all, let me just. Oh yeah, notice what this is here. Okay, 1B, right? All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
think.
usually how it works.
Yeah. I think there's something weird with the editor, how we're going about it. I think there's something weird that you have to do with JavaScript, with this. I mean, basically, remember we had the same thing, which we put in a variable, which is just kind of weird. Oh, it's a fucking bar, so it's gonna try to. Okay, let me try one more thing. Yep, sorry. String some too. See, this is good. This is what I'm talking about. This is good stuff here. Okay, let's see if this is the same thing here. Hmm. Oh fuck! I'm not using. Yeah, this is C sharp. Yeah. Let's This doesn't work in this editor. That's what it is. Okay. I think I know what's up. I think that's really weird. Well, this worked here, right? If we put this here, yeah, I will have to get back to you guys on this, and we'll move on.
It seems like maybe you had to fool the editor into treating it a certain way.
Yeah. Yes. It's breaking on that one though, but yeah, I don't want to just waste too much time debugging stuff. But we will soon. The important thing is data types. All right. So again, there's numbers and there's strings, and so far so good. We will go back
Yes.
to some of those interchangeable numbers, but for now we're not. We're just going to deal with words and numbers. Okay. So um, we're adding here, and we have functions and So now let's say I wanted to alert the message, and I wanted the message to say, "Hey, your number is the sum of your numbers is whatever the sum is." How would I do that? Oh, I think you guys yeah. Next time I'll get it to work so you guys can do this. Yeah. So how would I do that? Anybody know? Yeah. Would I do like alert, and then the sum of your numbers is. Let me just get like this. Okay. And then what? The sum of your numbers is what would go here?
You want num1 and num2?
Yeah. Indeed. Plus num2. All right. Well, let's see if this works. Shablips. Yes. Okay. This is pretty good. Yes. This is. You guys see what the answer is?
It's still treating it like a string.
Which is sort of is, because you see the beginning of it was a string. So I guess remember what I told you, that JavaScript is a little dumb in that way, or tries to be smart. Yeah. So it tells you, hey. So once it starts, okay, oh shit, we started up with a string. So, also remember that we're dealing with the alert function. So now let's see if this works. Let's say var sum equals num1 plus num2. And then write sum. I'll put sum. Let's see if that works. I hope it does. Oh, there you go. So we're manipulated and added them and put it into a variable sum, and then we use that variable for the output. That's what you should get used to. Don't be lazy and try to do all those things in one line over here. You could be lazy once once you understand it. But for now, let's take it step by step and try to break it down into different, break down the problem into different lines and different commands of different order, into an order. Okay. So far so good. So now, now it's up to you guys. I have a question. Chip lips. Because let's change the function name to
multiply.
Display. Well, multiply is pretty easy.
Display.
Yeah, display. Okay. So what I want our function to do is I want a name. It's going to take a name, and it's going to take some kind of age. It's going to take a number. Okay. And so it's going to be name and age. And I want to display, say, something like this. The name is this years old. Okay, so if I, well, first of all, well, yeah. So if I wanted to display the person's whose name you put in and his age, how would I do that? Anybody know? Go ahead. What? I mean, we just did it somewhat. You guys know how to do it? Should I do
Sorry,
it?
I was getting ready to write it out. I have to relaunch my editor.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Also, remember, you guys can just write stuff and paste it in, what do you call that? In here, I think, on Discord. We'll get something going so we can type each other also. I think we can. Actually, I think in here we can somewhere in here. I think we could do some sharing later on. You guys remember JS Fiddle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I have to set up JS Fiddle or the other one so we can work together. That way you guys can just type stuff in here. But for now, yeah, so it was pretty straightforward, right? So you would say something like the name, the person, and then name, and then is space age, then name, and then years old. All right. We're sort of cheating, not really cheating here, but I want you guys, I'm just using it and I haven't explained it or anything, but you guys see when I see, when I'm using these pluses here? You guys see that, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Right now, we're kind of cheating or just magically using plus. What plus is not only you use it for addition in JavaScript and other languages and like C Sharp, adding numbers, but you also use it to add strings. That's why we're just using it right here. So it's smart enough. Well, yeah. Once you're dealing with, if you mix strings and numbers, it's gonna fudge it and it's not gonna get. It's gonna be a little weird, like what we saw earlier.
Signs in general, you have to be careful with because they could be assignment generators or just in this case we're adding, but it might
Yeah.
have another use, incrementing or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Yes, exactly. Especially if you put another one somewhere. But yes. All right. So here, so if I do this right here, well, what would happen right now? We have the person. Is our function complete? Is it doing what we want it to do? What we set out to do? Well, yeah. I mean, all we wanted to do is just display a name and the age of the person. So, if I were to click,
You need to change the add.
that's right. So, are we calling it? Well, what would happen if I were to click me? If I were to click the button? Ah, let's go back
Nothing.
I'm
here.
gonna guess nothing, but you could throw an error.
Yeah, you're gonna crash. Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. It's gonna crash because, first of all, when on the on-click, when you click it, it's gonna say, "Hey, all right, we're gonna use this function." I'm just like, "Oh shit, okay, I'm gonna use the add function." So it's gonna go out and look for the add function, and then it's gonna go, shit, you got an add function somewhere? And then when you press it, it's gonna say it's not gonna find it, and then it's going to crash. So now this is where all the interesting things come in. Oh yeah. So remember, this is JavaScript now, right? And anything in particular, really, any language, programming language. So once it crashes here, anything else after that, or pretty much the whole thing, it won't work anymore. Right? That's kind of silly. I mean, it's not like, hey, if this doesn't work, then just keep on doing the do and do your best and just render or mess around with the rest of the page. No, so it's gonna tell you, hey, fuck you. I can't find that shit. I'm out. Right? And
Wouldn't the editor like highlight where the error came from?
in a way, yes. Well, if you press this, well, let's press it. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Nothing happens, right? Yes, but that's what we think. To the user right here, nothing happens. But you see, we're not mere users, right? We're the developers. Yeah, yeah. You like that? We're the developers. Yes, we're. So then, since we are developers, we're gonna use the sweet developer tools. That's right. You guys ready for this? This is magic right here.
Yeah.
Okay, now F12, baby. Remember F12. Shablips. Look at that.
Holy crap.
Okay, do me a favor and ignore all of that because that's kind of yeah. You don't want this. Clear console. Yes. Yeah. No worries. Normally you don't have all that junk. Okay, so this is your bread and butter here. You're gonna spend a lot of time F12 in it. So get used to F12 in it. It's all over the place. That's the important thing right here. Developer tools. Normally, we used to use some of these. A lot of these tools didn't exist many years ago. So you had to use outsource. Well, they used to exist, but they used to be not included in the browser. So you had to use like 50 tools, well, not 50, a few tools just to get, see the HTML and just to do all sorts of things. But now, look at what we have here. Okay, I'm about to blow your mind because this is it right here, my friends. F12. Say it with me. F12. That's
F12.
right. Okay. Okay, so you see all these sweet tabs over here? Look at that. Oh yeah. Okay, the first one. You see elements? We're gonna use probably 2 or 3 of them. Don't worry about all of them. Okay. Okay, do you guys see elements? Okay, so you see this little arrow here? Little thing here?
Yeah.
This is the hand of God right here, my friend. Yeah. When you click on that, it lets you expect anything on a page and see how it's built. Yeah. You see how I highlight this? And then you see this is the body here. This is going to look a little bit weird at the beginning, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, this tells me that hey, there's a button over here, and yeah, there's a add function attached to this thing here. You so I know it looks daunting. Don't worry about it, especially this page in particular because this is kind of an editor, so it has a whole bunch of stuff. For example, if you went to, I don't know, where you want, Chase, Champion,
By
anything.
doing that on my Twitter, it'll get overwhelming very fast.
Oh yeah, no. Some of these things, it's brutal. I was trying to think of a simple page, but nowadays the pages are not that simple. Yeah, so you could go to any website, F12 it, just see what kind of stuff what it is, like what are the pages, how it was styled, what is this, you know, yeah. So let me ask you a question. Do you guys see what this is? Anybody know?
A form.
Exactly. So now, if I were to go in there and say, hey, let me see what is this. So you just click anywhere on the form, right? You go over here, username. Okay. So remember, username is the first input on this form, right? So to get more information about the form, or if it's a form, you would just go up a little bit, right? So you see I'm looking at the form here. You see how it's highlighting over here? You see, so I'm messing with stuff down here, like highlighting stuff, and it's showing up on the top what I'm highlighting, what element I'm messing around with at the time. Okay, you guys get that right here? Yeah. So,
Yes.
so this is the form here. This is where the form begins. Look at that. Shablips. All right. So normally you have the form ID here, method post because it does a post, which we'll go over later. You have some kind of action, right? You see the action over here? And it does some kind of JavaScript, right? Okay. It's a secured website. So normally, right? In the way that we have handled forms, what's missing here, or what should be around here somewhere in the form? I don't know if you guys remember. See the HTML here. Let's go back.
Reading it. I'm sorry.
Was that?
I'm having a hard time reading it. The page
shit.
keep on refreshing on.
Oh, my bad. It's probably my internet or something. Yep. Let me just check. Okay. Yeah. So normally this will tell me where it's sending the form to, where it's sending the information to. Normally you could see that in some forms, but in secure forms you really can't, because why wouldn't you want someone to know where you're sending information to?
The hackers can steal your account.
Well, yeah, the hackers can see where you're sending the information to, so then they have that path, right? And then once they have the path, they could finagle and throw a whole bunch of information at it, right? Just try to break it. So you got to be careful with your forms, because you don't want people knowing the let's see, the path of it. I mean, it all depends what kind of. All right. Let me show you another one. Can you guys see? Somewhat, a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
So blurry.
It's inconsistent. Sometimes it's not.
Got you. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's move on away. Yeah, let's move away from forms. So yeah, let's go back to what we were doing. But this is good though. This is clear here. I kind of went off on a tangent there. My bad. Okay. So are we good on the inspection of elements using this thing here? Like if you want to see what an element looks like, you click on it and then it tells me what that element consists of. We're good with that, right? Or at least we should be, hopefully. Okay. So now, console. Console, it's one of the other ones that it's important when you F12, when you use the tools. So we're running this here. All right. And I wonder what happens to click me. Oh, shit. Okay. So, do you guys see what happened what when I clicked it? Okay, let me clear it again. Hold on.
The reference error add is not defined.
Yeah, yeah, look at that. Basically, it just said, hey, we have an error. We have an error here. Add is not defined. Okay, so when we clicked on click me, right, which is this button here, remember, when we click, we're saying, hey, call function add with these numbers. And then, so when I'm clicking it, it's calling add, and what is it telling me? I don't know if you could read this. My apologies. It's telling me that add does not exist. And in fact, it doesn't exist. Do we have add anywhere? The function add?
It used to exist.
Oh yeah, but it's not there anymore. So it's telling you, hey, it doesn't exist anymore. So what function are we using now?
Display.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, let me ask you a question. I wonder if this is better. Is that better? I'm just trying to change the font size somewhat. Yeah, so right now we're using display. So let's see display. Okay, so if I wanted to display the age, yeah, all right, for Gandalf, right?
Oh man, how old is that guy?
He's up there. At least 87 or something. Actually, he's pretty old. So he's probably like 5,600 years or something. I don't know.
Whoa.
He's older than that. Actually.
2019 years.
Is it? Ah, all right. There we go. It's like 2019 years. So,
What?
Next year, man.
yeah. Oh, all right. It is. So let's say, well, now I'm gonna run it, and let's see where. Oh yeah, console here. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Let's clear some of these. Clear console. Okay. So we're passing Gandalf in 2019. So tell me, if I press click, what happens? What should happen?
The person Gandalf is 2019 years old.
That is well. Let's see. Oh, there you go.
Pretty close.
Yeah. It's all about display. Also, you guys are going to spend a lot of time messing around with this, how you display information. So yeah, so you have to create, like, put a space here, for example, and a space here. See over here, and then just yeah, it's like Galifianakis or something. yeah. Right here, and that's better. Person Gandalf is 2019. Yeah, so far so good. So far so good here. And did we get an error? Do you guys see a sweet error over here?
Nope.
We did not.
A sweet error.
Yeah, no sweet errors. Yeah. So let's see what would happen. Actually, yeah, ignore this. Don't worry, ignore it. Oh, it's gonna be the same thing actually because it is treating it already as a string. Okay. What would happen if I would put a number here?
It would treat the number as a string.
Let's see. That's right. Look at that. So it knows. It knows.
Is a person now.
Yeah.
Stranger Things fans.
Stranger Things, yes.
Stranger Things, yeah. Oh, yeah, that is true.
11.
Oh, yeah, 11. She's not that old yet, but yeah, she might.
Just the thought counts.
Okay, so far you guys are getting this idea, the concept of that, we have a function and we're passing information to it, and we have these uh, boxes of memory that we can use, that we have access to, and that is power, right? And let's see, yeah, that is power. So now we kind of skip one, well, not skip, one thing that we need to remember, and this is, I think it needs to be drilled, and it needs to be solid in your minds, is that there are boxes in memory, and we have access to them. So therefore, if we have access to them, remember, so we have access to them, so we could put things in there, and we could take them out. So let's go back to, let's see, yes, I guess. So some number, let's go back to where we were. Num1, num2. Sure, look. And so we have num1 and num2. So let's just do this quick here. It actually is a different thing, but we'll get there later. 5 and 5. Yeah, I think that should be fine there. Okay, so we're passing two numbers to it for now. Gonna be put here. Okay, so now got some 1 and some 2. So when I pass, okay, so I'm gonna take away the tools for now. Okay. All right. There we go. So I'm passing two numbers to it, 5 and 5. So when I remember, in your mind, there is some space somewhere that is related to this function, and it has two boxes with num1 and num2, and it has a value inside. What is the value of those two boxes? Dele. Yeah. What is the value of those two boxes when I run this? Anyone know?
Currently, it's 5 and 5.
That is right. That is right. So in memory, yeah, make sure you get some paper, and just write it out. Create a box, name it num1. Create another box, name it num2. Like these guys here. You see? This is a box. This would be num1 and num2. Yeah, sorry, my dog. Let's see. Yeah, num1, num2. All right. And it has a number 5 on it. Give me one second. Let me see what my tone is. Hold on. All right. Should be fine, I think. Yeah. Okay, so if I wanted to, I think I could do this in Power Word or something. Do I have, oh no, oops, this is my Outlook. Yeah. Well, are you guys good with the concept of a box and having a value in there? I mean, for now, right?
For now.
Yeah, for now. Okay. I'll start doing, drawing it out when it gets more complex. But I think for now it should be good. Okay, so now, if I wanted to put the number 10 here in num1, how do I do that? If I wanted to put the number 15.
You're saying not in the button declaration. We could just
No, in the function. Yeah.
we could assign num1 the number 15.
Yeah. Num1 equals 15. Boom. And if I wanted to put 20 in the second number, so num2 equals 20. Or second. I think my yeah, we're good. Or yeah, so you guys get this. This is pretty straightforward. It's num1, num2. So we have access to these boxes, and we could change the value at will. We could get the value, or put some other value in there. Okay. What if I wanted to put the value of num2 into num1?
Num1 equals num2.
Yeah, it's straightforward. It's pretty sexy. So here, what would be? Let's see. So here, what would be? Let me change this over here. So 4, no, 3, and 7 here. Okay. Then let's just say I have var7 equals. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. Num1 plus num2, and then alert sum. All right. So here, what would be the output? Let me try to make it a bit bigger. If I press click me, what would be the output here? I erased some of the stuff that we were doing. This is kind of the base case. So I'm providing these numbers to sum, and I'm adding them, and then alert them. So what should be, when I hit click me, what should I get? What should pop up?
10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, again, yeah, remember, this is logic. We're keeping it logical. We're keeping it simple. That's what it's all about. A lot of these are not really trick questions, at least not yet. Yeah, 10, right? Yeah. So then, but if I said before this, num1 equals num2, this is where we're starting to get into tricksy things and exam things and all that good stuff. So what would pop up?
6.
Let's see.
What?
Well, you had it.
Oh man, it's the other number, 7.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had it correct in a way. No, you had it correct.
Yes, I know it's 3 plus 3.
Yeah. So that's why. I know this is going to be a pain, and it's going to be sort of tricky, but I want you to get used to, really, I hope you have some paper and pen next to you. And let's see, word 16 or something. Blank document. Yeah, so you have some paper, and give me 1 second. Get the insert. Let me know if you see a square somewhere, shape somewhere. I should have done this earlier. My bad. Yeah, so label this, I don't know, sum or something. Of course, not cooperating, but it's fine. So this is the variable sum here, and then you got other variables over here. Just bear with me. And let's say this is num1 and num2. So always, this will save you a lot of grief and a lot of time until it becomes kind of second nature in your mind. But yeah, remember, they're just boxes. And draw it out, like write in the number inside, and then mess around with it. Like put the number, erase it, see what's in there. Like in here, I don't. Can I get a 7 in? Oh shit, son. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. So here would be 7, right? And here we have a 3. Oh man, this is good. Okay. Yeah. So we have a we have a 3 here. So the first thing that happens in the code, right? This is the original state of things when we go into the function, right? Sum doesn't exist. Num has 3, num1 has 3, num2 has a 7. Okay, so let's go line by line. Remember, I said line by line, right? Okay. So go line by line slowly. We're like, anything here? Anything happens over here? No, right?
They're comments.
They're just comments, right? And blank, blank. Counter first line. Shabloops. So I want the value, what's inside num1, to be equal to num2. So what that means is, look inside the box of num2. Grab whatever that is, copy the value, and put it in num1. So the way we do that is, right here, over here. The way we do that is, we have value of num2, which is what? 7, right? And then override whatever's in here and put the value of num2, which is 7. So far so good, right? Easy peasy. So let's continue with the state. Remember, this is the state of the function, of the execution of the function. I want you to get used to that sort of, that idea or that concept, the state of where, the function execution, where you are in the step of the task of the program, or, or your code, pretty much. So let's continue, because next line. Well, I mean, did we satisfy this? Are we good here?
Yeah.
So we copied in our boxes in memory value. Boom. So we did that. So we copy that. So now we go into the next line. There's nothing. We create a variable sum here, shablips right here, which it starts off empty, of course. And then we take the value of num1, add it to num2, and then put it into sum, which is value of num1, 7, added to num2, and then put it here. In this case, it's going to be 14. And so that's why when you click it, you get 14. It's like right here, and you alert. Yeah. So again,
Precursor to a flow chart here, right?
But what's that? I'm sorry. What was it?
The boxes were basically, it's the precursor to having a flow chart.
It is exactly, yes. That's exactly what it is. It is because that is some. It is some. Yeah, it's a flow chart pretty much. You go from one line to the other to the state. Yeah, it describes the state from one step to the other. That's exactly what it is. I really should have done like this. Should have been down here somewhere. But you get, yeah, this thing is not going to cooperate. But for now, let's leave it like this. It looks a little bit off. So far so good though. You guys are with it. I think, yeah, next time I can use PowerPoint, because PowerPoint's pretty sweet with these things. Okay, so how do you guys feel about what we've done so far here? How do you guys feel about boxes and places in memory?
Pretty comfortable.
Yeah. So we got places in memory that we could store stuff, take stuff in and out, and then okay. Now, you guys remember places in memory, right? You guys remember these guys here? Okay. We're not gonna do this now, but I want you to get into the habit, or at least the concept, that right now, do you guys see that we have numbers and letters? Right? Like we have a 7. This could be like a G. This could be a P. They could be, basic characters, right? Okay, now, so that's the cool thing. They're just basic. There are two types of information. There's two types of boxes that we're going to be dealing with that hold kind of different kind of information, right? So far, we've done the basic one, which is called value. They just called a value box, which means that don't let me throw you off here. Which means that whatever the value is in here, that's all it is. It's just a 1 or an A, and whatever you change in here, changes. It's simple. It's simple because that's all we know right now. Sorry, yeah, that is all we know. Yeah, so it could be anything. Later on, we will address that we're gonna mess around with another type, which is sort of a reference. So I know that this is about to get a little weird. We're not going to do that now, but yeah, it's a reference or an address that points to somewhere else in memory. Oh yeah. So instead of the actual value of what we're gonna be messing with, right? We're gonna say, for example, you have num1, and then you're gonna be, hey, the address of num2. This might throw you off a little bit, but just know that there's gonna be different types of boxes. But for now, we're not gonna mess around with that. We're simple boxing it right now, right? Simple box, values, that's straight up value. That's what it is.
Following up with that, is there a
Yes,
dynamic
yes.
way to reference addresses, or do you have to like know specifics?
Well, what do you mean? Sorry.
Well, you said if we're going to define the address of num2 in num1,
yes,
like,
yes.
is there a way to like just have it handle?
Oh, it does it automatically for you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And in the code and C# and things like that, it does it pretty much automatically. But you will have to tell it, hey, this is an address. Like there's different special words saying, hey, treat it as a reference. It's called a reference type.
Okay. No, I in a modern computer, it seems overwhelming to try and find individual addresses manually.
Oh no, we're not gonna mess around with like 51785. No, its own names is handled. Yeah, a lot of the cool stuff that we're gonna be dealing with it's like magic for us because a lot of the stuff is handled in the background, especially in C# and .NET. A lot of the stuff it does a lot for you, which is why it's very useful. You could do a lot of stuff, and the overhead you don't have to worry about a lot of overhead and dealing with like the little nitpicking things or you just do.
No assembly.
I'm sorry, what?
No assembly type work.
No,
Low level.
not low level stuff. No, not even like C or C++. No, not at all. It handles a lot of the stuff for you, so you could actually do what you want to do.
That's fair. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go one more second on this. I wanted to clarify something. In C#, started off as a kind of, I'm not gonna say, well, .NET and C# started off kind of like as a toy language. That's gonna sound horrible. So in a way, like Visual Basic. I mean, Visual Basic it's cool. You drag stuff around. And oh yeah, let me switch myself over here. It started off as kind of like, I'm not gonna say a toy language. Again, but then it started growing and growing and growing, and it became more serious and serious and serious until it became a monster, pretty much. Like people just started adding stuff, and especially came with the advent and the introduction of something called MVC, which there are two different ways of making web pages when you deal with Microsoft. One is ASP, right? ASP was very clunky. So imagine ASP. The way I'm going to describe ASP is you have a web page, right? And the web page communicates with the server, correct? So you have to send data back and back and forth. And imagine sending all the data back of the whole web page every time you want to request anything. So can you imagine all the data going back, then going back and forth? And it's a lot. So then they introduced something called MVC, which is a model viewer, a controller. It's kind of like a different idea, a different way of programming, and that's what we're going to be doing. It started somewhere else with like Ruby on Rails, and Java used it as well. But then it was introduced into .NET and C Sharp, and that's why it kind of, a lot of people started adopting it, and then it became really strong. So over time, C Sharp and what you can do with C Sharp has increased exponentially until now. It's like it's pretty powerful. It's very, very powerful. Okay, so let me go back over here. Lips. Okay, and yeah. So remember, there's different types of boxes. So I don't want to overwhelm you too much. But what? So are you guys good with the basic function and how we can do things on onClick and then JavaScript? And have it do a job, have it do a task. You guys sort of, well, have you guys understood what we've done so far?
Yes.
Okay. So up to now, we've just done a pretty simple sum function. But again, we're just trying to understand the concept of it and how it, what you can do with it. Also, P. The next thing I want you to check out is something called jQuery, which we're going to be talking about it at length, or at least a little bit more next time. Okay, so now let me tell you what jQuery is before the next one, right? jQuery, okay, dealing with JavaScript is a pain in the ass. Like seriously, like if you're writing JavaScript, it's not very pretty. It's messy, and it's hard remembering all the things you need to do, and so it's not easy. So these
walked us through a JavaScript code he wrote for a registration handler, and he had to walk us through it. It was almost illegible.
Yeah,
The rest of us.
No, we don't do that. We really, like, these days. So yeah, so again, JavaScript, it's cool though, and you're gonna be using it like we just did a lot of the time like that, and well, that's what JavaScript is. But when it comes to interacting or getting the handles of the web page and interacting with the web page, man, I forgot the word that I had before. I got to write it down. Yeah, with JavaScript, interact with the web page and get the handles. Manipulate. Yes. Oh yeah. I gotta write. I gotta send myself some mail on that, so I don't. Yeah. Manipulate it. Sorry. Like I said, I'm on very little sleep. All right. There you go. Yeah. So in order to manipulate things with normal JavaScript, it's hard. Straight up, pain in the ass. Right. But then these dudes out there said, like, man, this shit's fucking hard. This shit's a pain in the ass. And then they created something called jQuery. Okay, so jQuery is a library. Okay, we're gonna be using libraries all over the place. What a library is a collection of functions that you can use to do something instead of you developing it yourself. So you don't have to do all the work. So you just use, there are already pre-made functions that do some cool stuff. The perfect example is, let's say, if you wanted to do some math, do you guys just see we created a sum function, right? Okay, so then if we wanted to do math, you could create a sum function, you create a multiplication function, and then find the prime number function. So you could see how it's sort of, we would have to create all of that, and some of it would take a long time. Do you guys agree?
Agree.
Yeah. So then there's the notion of a library, which somebody else already wrote, and he gave you that functionality in a package. So you could just, hey, can I use your package? Let me check out your package. That's right. And you could just use these functions without having to write it yourself. So if you use a math library, it would already have all the math functions in it, so you could just use it. So you guys are familiar with video games, right? Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think a graphic library would do?
Handle the graphics for you.
Yeah, yeah, it would make it easy for you to handle graphics and display graphics. I don't know. I mean, I know you guys have probably messed around with it, but dealing with graphics, it's a lot of code. You have to do a whole vector manipulation and draw from like A to B, and then draw some other stuff. Like even to draw a triangle is a fucking pain in the ass, right? But then if somebody, yeah, but then if somebody created a function that say, hey, draw a triangle, in which you just say, hey, you just call the function draw triangle and give it how big, and it's pretty sweet, right? Yeah. So yeah, libraries is just pre-existing code that you can use. So jQuery is such library. It is you use it to manipulate and do a whole bunch of stuff with HTML. It is one of the things that you need to know or be familiar with in order to be a developer these days. Everybody uses it. Everybody, goes all, yeah. It's everywhere. So, and what it does is it makes it simple for you to do things, manipulate the web, manipulate HTML. That is one of the things that is really good, and it makes it easy. Yeah. So, for example, let's go back over here. Well, I'm not going to go too much into it right now, but just know that it's a library that allows you to do cool stuff pretty easy. Okay, so give me 1 second here. Forget about this. You guys, you haven't seen this. Turn your eyes away. Okay, let me just give you a quick preview, all right? So remember, the head contains resources and metadata that doesn't show up in here, but it's important to us because you can use it to link outside resources like CSS or other libraries that you can use here. Or you could use the head to write scripts and functions like we did earlier. Correct? Sweet. So, do you guys see this right here? I don't know if you can see it.
I actually lost the screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Okay, so you see it.
Yes.
Okay, so what this tag, the script tag, tells you, the script tag means that you're going to be dealing with some kind of script, with JavaScript, right? Okay. So what this does, it tells, okay, is there code like we wrote here? You see, because you have the script and you have the end script.
Okay.
So, yeah, wait, give me 1 second, I'm going to cough. Let me get some water. Yeah, so it looks for scripts. So in this one, we already have the script here. But in this one, it says like, oh shit, okay, there's no script in between, but there's a source here. So let me go over here and then see what it is. So basically, this is the address of the script that you want to refer. So instead of writing it over here, you have an outside resource that you have access to the JavaScript. So if I were to paste this, right, and then go to it, wow, yeah, you guys see that? It's a bunch of gibberish, right? Don't pay attention to this. It's just a whole bunch of gibberish. Yeah. It's made so it's small, so they took out most of the spaces and all that stuff. So normally it's not. Yeah, don't worry about that.
They're like looking at an encrypted DLL there.
Yeah, pretty much. But you guys get the idea or the concept that we are linking an outside resource here, an outside library. And then, since we're linking it, we can use functions. to it. Okay, so we're gonna go over this later, some of the basics, but let's see. You guys see the body? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to create. Let me see an input. I don't know. Input type equals text. All right here, and then yeah. Oh, ID. We're gonna call it an ID, and we're gonna get a box or something. All right. Yeah. All right. Div. Okay. Oh yeah, does this even work? Oh, let me see. All right. So forget about this for now. Just let's focus on the input, right? You see it? You see it? It's just a box, correct? All right.
Just a box.
Yeah, that's a box right there. I know. And so in here, since we have access to jQuery, we can use jQuery. So I'm just gonna do this quick. The way you use things in just jQuery, you give it you use the dollar sign. That's kind of the shortcut, and then I'm gonna be kind of do do Give me 1 second. I'm kind of doing this quick, but alert box value. Let's see. Oh, we need a button to do this, though. uh, Actually, that will take some time. But anyway, let's go back to it. I'll do this probably next time. Uh, yeah. So jQuery library, do stuff easier, manipulate HTML easier. That's what we should get away, get for now. I'll do some more stuff next time, I think. So, so far so good. Are you guys good with this over here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Um, Let me ask you a question. I'm not sure if it's a good idea to do questions or kind of not even homework, just like exercises. Uh, how should we do exercises? Like for example, sometimes at sometime I would ask you say like, hey, do you do this? And then you try to do it. Like I would give you an assignment, like create a form that takes and then does something with a function or anything, pretty much. So that during our time here, that I'm not sure if that's a good idea to do that because I mean I could just like hey do this, give you 15 20 minutes or whatever, and then come back and then we do it. Or should I beforehand maybe give you something that you could get your hands on and do it, and then we can discuss it while we start, like at the beginning or something like that. Would that work? How do you think that works? Which is the best way? Because yeah, go ahead.
I think homework is never really a bad problem, but we could also like do it while like
Yeah.
if you have something you want to go over with us and give us a problem to solve while try and work between the two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I'm not. Yeah, I think we got to mix it a little bit. Because some of these things, especially when we get into the actual programming part of it, where you have to kind of parse, like use logic and like plan it step by step and like check out your results and like basically just the programming part. That's when it's very important to do it together and to be there because a lot of time we're like it's like what the fuck is happening here, and then that's when shit goes hits the fan.
If you want, you could also present some problems to us at the beginning of the call it a lecture.
Yeah.
As we work through the material,
Mhm.
it could be upon us to try and complete that.
Mhm.
Put the pieces together in our own heads.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I'll be giving you guys access to Pluralsight. Remember that yeah. So I need to send that out a little bit later today, probably, because I have my account, so you guys can use my account, and those guys can explain certain things a lot better. Well, yeah, a lot better than I can in a way. What I will be good, so you should definitely check it out. What I will be good for is hands-on, going over it and help you think through some of the problems and get some of the understanding. Because again, the beginning and some of the stuff is pretty somewhat simple, but it's easier to get caught up, and especially when you're problem solving some of these things. Okay, so I think we're good for now. Do you guys feel somewhat okay what a JavaScript is and what variables are and kind of like the beginning of programming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the good news is that, good news, everyone, right? So the good news is that if you guys understood this part here pretty much, which is the function and the programming part, that is pretty much the same thing that we're going to be dealing with in the studio. And a heads up, once we go over the basics of jQuery, we're going to be moving on to Visual Studio, and that's when we're going to start seeing, like the good stuff, and getting in there, some of like the real, not even real programming, but that's when we're kind of going to start the good stuff. But the problem is, do you guys have Visual Studio installed? Can you install it? I have to go and see which version. I'm sorry.
I have 2013. I've been trying to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a version of it. Okay. Let me see. So 2013. I'm gonna go and see on the site and see which is the one, because maybe we could all use the same, or because I use the one I have, it's kind of like the pro version of 2015. But I'll see. I'll see what they have, the free one. I really should have done that, but yeah. But you have access to 2013 right now,
The
somewhat.
community version should be up to date. It
Yeah.
should be 2017 is the latest.
It is. It is. So soon, at least maybe in the next week or something, do you think you're able to install it and maybe have access to it? Can I? Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Dave?
Sure. It's free, right?
It is free. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I
It's a
said
little bit of
earlier.
a pain to install. You have to go through some hoops and get an account with Microsoft if you don't already.
Yeah, they made it. Yeah.
Oh.
The couple of years
A
they.
license.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. They want a license that you have to apply for a license. You can get it for free. It's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Yeah. Just create some kind of, I don't know, like Gmail or something, and then they should have it. But yeah, try to work on that, and it's something, it will get you in, at least used to dealing with stuff like that, because as a developer, you're gonna be downloading stuff all over the place, and not even registering, just downloading stuff all over the place, and maybe registering sometimes and using it. But yeah, do me a favor and do download, and try to set up Visual Studio, and then we can actually start on there at NVC and do real stuff. And that really when all of this stuff is going to come together, because again, we have once we have this the server, well, not the server, once we have Visual Studio up, we don't need to use the websites anymore. We could just do everything on Visual Studio, right? And it's a lot simpler. Okay, so I will create some slides for you guys, so it's easier to remember some of these. But yeah, I think we're good for now. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
No. No questions.
We're legit. Okay. When do you guys want to meet again? When shall we three meet again under thunder, lightning, or rain? Hover through the fog and filthy. Sorry. Yes. When is it? When is it good? What do you guys think? Well,
Tuesdays?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. Because a Tuesday's good for you. I'm not sure. Like that? Like that? Sorry.
Tuesdays work for me. They are a little bit more rough than like a Thursday or Friday, but I can definitely work with it.
Yeah, I mean, we could take it easy on yeah. Well, how do we feel about Mondays? Too soon? Too soon?
Monday.
This
Yeah,
Monday I
Monday's
have
too
no
soon.
plans.
Yeah, no. I hear you. Yeah, Monday's too soon. I think we gotta space it out. Okay, so Tuesday. Also, we could also do 8:30, 9. You know, take it easy on Tuesdays. We don't have to go balls out, and then maybe take it. You know, go a little bit harder on Thursday. So for now, Thursday and Tuesday work for now, and then maybe we'll throw. Yeah, I mean, well, let's aim for Tuesday and then go from there. How about that? One day at a time. One day at a time. Okay, so yeah, I gotta process some of these videos and post them. And then hopefully this one was better than the last one. The last one I was like not even, I was all over the place. But yeah, hopefully you guys got something. And the start is slow, but we're gonna start rolling soon. All right, gotta start.
Yep.
Hobble around first. All right, so everybody take it easy and send me any questions or anything. All right.
You too, Caesar.
All right, Oh, Dave.
Wait. Yes, shoot.
Yeah, sorry. Your friend hasn't sent me any information. You put a link on there, right?
Oh,
he hasn't.
I tagged him.
Oh well, yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, yeah, he hasn't.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so later. Take it easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Oh, el diablo, doña, ¿qué es eso? Nice. That is nice.
Déjame ir a sacar esta, que está como aburrida.
Huh?
Me voy a buscar los zapatos, mira aquí.
Let's
Ay, Dios
see.
mío. Ella se vuelve loca cuando ella se...
Ay, doña.
Va a pasear, ella se vuelve loca.
Es una niña.
Loquita se vuelve.
Es una niña.
Sí, porque a ella le gusta sacar, salir a pasear, sí. Ahora falta eso, déjame orinar y ya. Nos vamos, ¿ok? No ahorita ahí. Espera. Ya, salió.